Hello and welcome back to Glam Tones. It's me, Gigi, and what we're going to do today is celebrate Dank Brandon. If you're familiar with all of the memes and little ridiculous things that people say, it all started with F. Brandon. Then Brandon started acting up, Brandon being President Biden, of course. And then Brandon went from just Brandon to Dark Brandon because whoever's in charge of the White House's Twitter account is savage, and I'm here for it. And now it's gone to Dank Brandon because Dank being a word associated with the cannabis community quite a bit, people started calling him Dank Brandon. So today we are celebrating the decision by Dank Brandon to start making change on our nation's marijuana laws and pardoning all non-violent marijuana possession convictions. That's the word I'm looking for. So what I'm doing is just drawing a real pretty marijuana leaf. That's it. Although normally I call it cannabis. Most people do actually call it marijuana. But the real word for it is cannabis, and that's the word I usually use. Oftentimes, the slang, especially in this situation, the slang that has started around it, started as a way to vilify the plant or whatever substance or situation that slang, can sometimes spring up around a thing, and marijuana is one of those things. It's a Spanish word or a Mexican word, I'm not sure which, because there's a lot of words from the native languages mixed in with Spanish, and so there's a lot of words I don't know what the etymology of them are. Of course not, because I don't study language, right? Although I am very interested in language. Honestly, I really like it. I think communication is just super cool, right? Oh, and there goes the big dog. I don't know if you can hear him. Somebody's probably delivering something or got home, or a neighbor farted next door. We don't know. So I did a little reading last night about cannabis prohibition, which actually started further back than I even knew about. It goes back into like the early 1900s, and even people were trying to change attitudes about it at the very late 1800s, because prior to that, it was seen as a medicine and as a recreational substance, just like alcohol was. Alcohol was also used oftentimes in a medicinal setting, especially when you're talking about any kind of tincture. Oftentimes those are made with alcohol. So you could buy tinctures at your pharmacist, and probably your grocer. And there were people that were starting to set up like cannabis parlors and stuff, and that's what it was called then, cannabis sativa or cannabis indica. I'm not sure if anybody had started hybridizing yet and making their own strains, so I'm not sure. I did not do that much research on it, but especially once you get to the 30s, the vilification of cannabis really began. And when you start to look into the reasons why this started happening, it really doesn't have that much to do with anything other than racism and economic interests of specific groups, like the paper industry, because I don't know why you're so afraid to plant hemp instead of cut down trees. The reasoning behind certain decisions make no sense to me. It's like the fossil fuel industry. You could start transitioning now to being a company that offers clean alternatives to the fossil fuels. You could do that yourself, but you're not. And it's like they're blind to what the opportunities in front of them are. And that seems like the same case here. Like the DuPont company who makes, like plastics and latex and stuff like that. They didn't want, because you can make plastic out of hemp, right? And it's stronger and more durable, and it's actually recyclable. But they didn't want that. They wanted to make plastic out of fossil fuels. So they put a kibosh on that. And there's a whole tax act and everything that happened where you had to have something just got knocked down. I feel like maybe the baby grabbed something. I don't know if you guys could hear that. I can't wait to listen back and see if that's hearable. Okay, guys, after I did the leaf, I'm just doing some smoke, and I'm using the Bloomin' gel to do it, and I'm just getting crazy with it because smoke, loops and swirls and twirls and does its own little thing. So that's what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm getting a tickle in my nose, and I'm going to try real hard not to sneeze. Really hard. Oh, there, I think we're past it. Oh, maybe not all the way though. So there's more in the history of cannabis prohibition than I can share with you here. If you're curious, there is so much reading and so many videos you can watch. Just the way that they almost forced the term marijuana instead of cannabis and the way that they put out propaganda to scare people into thinking cannabis was going to destroy their children's lives. It really hurt people. It hurt people in the way that they couldn't have their medicine anymore, but it also hurt people in that families were destroyed when people were sent to prison for literally owning a plant. And then they would probably turn around and go to church and read in the Bible that it says every plant on the earth that bears seed is given by God to people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big proponent of God and the Bible. That's not my bag. But if you're going to call yourself a Christian, at least don't jail people for having something that's in your book. And cannabis is in that book too. So it's infuriating. People's lives have been destroyed. But Dank Brandon came to the rescue finally. And there's a whole history there that I wish I could get into too. But if you want to hear more about it, let me know. This is the finished set. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching today's video and listening to my very spotty history lesson of weed prohibition. There's a lot out there to read, guys, and I can't cover it all in an 8-minute and 30-second video, but you can cover it in your own life. Go out there and check it out. I'm going to see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.